Hey guys, Josh Henkin here, creator of the DVRT system and Master RKC, along with my good friend Troy Anderson, RKC and owner of Alpha Kettlebell. What I want to do today is talk to you about how we progress movement in the DVRT system, specifically the hip hinge. We've gone from this concept of training not muscles but movement, but now people are training exercise and not movement. So in the movement, such as a deadlift, we're looking at the hip hinge. So what we're going to look is how we can progress the hip hinge within the DVRT system. So we start with a basic exercise like a deadlift because it gives us this base stability. Troy's going to grab our queen grip handles, which puts his shoulders in a good position. He can lock in his upper back. He's pushing the ground away from him and stands up nice and tall. The top position is our plank. When he hinges back, we're looking for that same plank. Nice position. We'll do just a couple reps, Troy. So this is our foundation because it's a base of stability. In our DVRT system, instead of progressing just low, we can change holding position first in lower body dominant exercises like a hip hinge. So Troy's going to come to what we call a front loaded position. Now, keeping his elbows in close to his body, this is our plank position again. More load through the trunk and now a little bit more through the hips. He's going to hinge, keeping everything looks the same. Now, a lot of people in this position will collapse. They'll have weakness in their upper or lower back or their core stability, and they'll see that rounding. So as he goes down, elbows come slightly up like he's doing. Perfect. We add a little pause, push to the heels, come up nice and tall. For those of you that love kettlebell swings and who doesn't, this is a great progression leading up to kettlebell swings before we add the variable speed. So if we come back down, we've introduced the hip hinge from a base stability. We've changed holding position, which increases the perceived load. Now we're going to change the plane of motion. So what we're going to do is add a little instability by having Troy go to our stagger stance. He's going to go stagger stance, and as he pulls upwards, he's going to pull his foot up. So he's going to start down, hinge back, pull through predominantly the right leg. His back heel has to stay off the ground to make sure his pelvis does not rotate. This adds frontal and transverse plane forces, so now he's working, perfecting that hip hinge in multiple planes. The next series we'll start adding a little bit more of a step. So now Troy will start coming up and he'll take a little bit longer of a step coming back. So Troy comes down, come up. Now let's go ahead and start stepping back a little further, Troy. So we can increase intensity by increasing the length of the step, which increases the demand upon his hip, not just to produce force, but to resist excessive motion. Nice, Troy. We can change the planes of motion by now having him go frontal plane. So maybe we'll face the camera there, Troy. If he goes frontal plane, he'll have a nice wide base. He'll come out to the side. And this is actually relatively easy for people to learn because they have a nice wide base to work from. Drive up. This is not a lunge though. So if you find yourself going around your knee, you're starting to get into a lunge like this. He should be in that hip hinge pattern. We want to be able to reproduce that hip hinge pattern in many different planes. The last one is going forward, so deceleration. So Troy's going to step forward, plant, hip hinge, and then drive back. And what you're seeing is one hip, his right hip is coming out to decelerate, he loads up, accelerates back, and the left hip absorbs him. Think about a tennis player, a baseball player, anyone that does anything athletic, even going down to pick up your child, how you do that motion all the time. We can replicate the quality. So what we want to do is see how we can make your strength training really focus on challenging movement over time. So in the DVRT system, we have the option of going heavier, but we can change bases of stability and planes of motion, which gives you more options and giving you a better workout and more effective results.